Hello, I'm Sue Carter. I'm a member of the National Honey Show Executive Committee, and I produce the schedule of classes and events for the show. I'm also a keen exhibitor of honey and other hive products and a honey judge. The first national show of bees and honey was held in 1923 at the original Crystal Palace. There were no shows during the Second World War, which is why we're only at the 89th show. The trophy you can see here is the magnificent Crystal Palace Cup, which is one of the 91 trophies awarded at the show. The National Honey Show is the foremost honey competition in the world. Unfortunately, we can't hold the show this year, but I'm going to tell you something about what to expect when you do visit, hopefully next year. The show is entirely managed and staffed by volunteers. The Executive Council organises and runs the show, and over the course of the show itself, we have over 150 people who spare anything from 2 hours to 4 days of their time to help us set up, run, and close down the show. We are hugely grateful to all the helpers and the support they give us, and if you can spare some time to help with the 2021 show, our Chief Steward, Bill Fisher, will be pleased to hear from you. The show is held at Sandown Park Racecourse, which is in Esher, Surrey. The venue is the exhibition and function halls that belong to the Jockey Club. There is plenty of free parking and various food outlets, and lots of space for the trade hall, lectures, and workshops. Oh, lots of place to catch up with friends and talk about what else? Honey and beekeeping. And of course, don't forget the honey show competition itself. I'm going to show and tell you something about the exhibition of honey, beeswax, and associated hive products that we usually have, and hope to encourage you to enter the 2021 show. The honey show is divided into classes. Each class is given a number, and the schedule gives a description of what you need to do to enter for that class. The classes are subcategorized into sections, those that can be entered by anyone, those that are for non-UK and Ireland exhibitors. Some classes are for members of the National Honey Show only, and some are for schools. There are also some classes that are restricted to members of the UK counties, which are a good starting point for entering the National itself. The classes are also categorized into the type of exhibit they are, such as honey, beeswax, mead, display, design, confectionery, junior, and photography. There's plenty to go for. In total, there are 113 classes in the show, plus an additional 99 for the counties. You'll need to start by looking at the schedule, as there are a number of rules to follow that specify the type of jar, size of exhibit, number of items needed, etc., and also some guidance for the exhibitors. The National Honey Show has produced a range of booklets on preparing honey, mead, wax, etc. for the show, and these are available to purchase from our website. If I show you a few pages from the 2019 schedule, I can point out some key things to look for. Here the guidance shows how full the jars need to be and how to look for granulation with a powerful torch. This section also advises you not to change your jar lids at the show, so you don't lose the lovely aroma of the honey that the judge is looking for. Moving on to the rules, read these carefully, taking particular care to understand the ones associated with the classes you're entering. Here is a section from the entry schedule itself with the list of classes and the numbers associated with them. Jill Tinsey, who is our entries secretary, and any member of the executive are always happy to help and answer questions if you don't understand anything. Try the rules easy to follow, but understand that if you're a first-time exhibitor, what we mean may not always be obvious. Once you have decided which classes to enter, there's an online entry form to complete and return with any necessary fees. Make sure your entry form is returned before the final date for entries. You'll be then sent the labels you need for your exhibits, and the rules will tell you where these need to be affixed. Then All you need to do is bring your exhibits along to Sandown Park on the Wednesday afternoon before the show opens, as judging takes place on the Thursday morning. But do note that the final date for entering the photography classes is earlier than the rest. Judging is carried out by trained honey judges, along with some specialist judges for photography, microscopy, and beer. In total, 39 judges examine the exhibits, and judging takes between 3 and 4 hours. So let's look at some of the categories. We'll start with honey. In 2019, we had an amazing 2,960 jars of honey displayed, plus there was additional honey used in displays. The judge is looking for a number of things: clarity, viscosity, aroma are just a few. And if you'd like to know more about showing honey, this year's demonstration by John Goodwin is an excellent starting point. John regularly gives workshops on showing honey and beeswax at the Honey Show, so look out for them in next year's schedule. The most prestigious honey class is Class 1, and this is for 24 jars of honey. The jars don't all need to be the same honey, but this is often the case. However, they do need to be in equal numbers, so 2 lots of 12, 3 lots of 8, etc. The judges will look at each jar in the class and basically look for faults that can mark down the exhibit. Only the best will do for this class, and it is possible that a first prize won't be awarded as all of the jars don't meet the high standards. On a simpler level, there are many classes for 2 jars of extracted honey, some of which have over 50 entries. Now, it can be a bit intimidating to enter a national show for the first time, and classes 5 and 6 give you the opportunity to enter your honey and get some feedback from the judges. Classes 9, 10 and 11 are interesting, as these are classes that are not open to the UK and Ireland, so only our overseas visitors can exhibit. Over the years, we've had many exhibits from far afield as the Argentinian forests, the Pacific Islands, USA, Africa, Middle East and the Caribbean, and of course, Australia and New Zealand. We would encourage all of our overseas viewers to look at the schedule for next year and considering entering these classes. Also within the honey classes are cut comb and frames of honey for extraction. Here the judge is looking for the cappings to be clean and even, the honey must not be crystallizing, and there must be no sign of wax moth, and in the case of cut comb, no loose honey in the container. For frames for extraction, the ease of uncapping and the weight of the honey in the frame is also taken into account. Display classes. The most impressive class is class 16, which requires at least 7.25 kilograms of honey, as well as mead and beeswax. The displays stand on individual tables and usually have a theme that links all of the elements together. Over the past few years, we've seen a tribute to the end of the First World War, a picnic, Christmas, Halloween, and as a nod to our venue of Sandown Park, horses. This class is often entered by beekeeping clubs as well as individuals, as it is a big class to enter and many hands make light work. The judge will look at all of the elements of the display, not only the honey, wax and mead, but also the wow factor of the display. There is a short video on the National Honey Show Facebook page and on our YouTube channel by Joyce Nisbet, who has won this class, and how she constructs her displays. There are also shop and counter displays where the judge is looking for the attractiveness of the display to the public, as well as the quality of the honey and wax products displayed. And the very interesting class of home-produced goods made using honey and beeswax, where you see soaps, lotions and potions. Sarah Robb's demonstration of cold processed soap will get you off to a good start for next year's display. Sarah also gives workshops at the show, which are popular, fill up quickly. Let's move on to beeswax. Throughout the wax classes, the judge is looking for clean wax with a good aroma, and where the schedule states, the items should be matching in all respects. Within the beeswax section are blocks of wax from 28 to 454 grams, and last year there were 35 kilograms of wax displayed as blocks. Beeswax classes also includes models made from beeswax, both from a mould and not moulded, and of course, candles. 2019 had 294 candles displayed. Candle classes cover anything from rolled candles using coloured foundation to those using moulds and candles made by dipping. In all cases, the candles will be lit to see how they burn, so make sure you use the correct size wick and have clean wax so the candles don't spit and splutter on burning. A popular section in this class is that for Beeswax Flowers, and we've seen some fantastic displays over the years. A fairly new category in the wax class is one for Beeswax Wraps, where the entry will be wrapped around a piece of cut apple and left overnight to assess the degree of browning of the apple. And if you want to see how to make a beeswax wrap, take a look at the demonstration given by Gwyn Marsh. Let's move to Mead and Beer. The mead display at the show is always impressive. It is backlit and the various colours of the meads and melomels are highlighted to make a colourful spectacle. Mead is honey wine and it's judged in a similar way using a scoring sheet that encompasses all of the elements from the cleanliness of the bottle through to taste. Within this section are the fruit meads and herb meads, and in total we had 213 bottles entered in the show in 2019. Honey beer has been included in the show for the past 7 years and is increasing in popularity. One of the beer classes is for commercial breweries, so if you can persuade your local microbrewery to enter a beer with honey as an ingredient, as well as having a go yourself. At the show, we have workshops for both mead and beer making, so look out for them at future shows. The design classes are for the budding inventors, artists, needleworkers, woodworkers. This is the section for you. Here your creative juices can flow and decorative items belong in these classes. There have been tiny wooden goblets which hold a 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey, which we know is the volume a honeybee collects in its life, super pieces of embroidery, felt work, artwork, and knitting. And we often see encaustic art, which is painting using beeswax in these classes. This section also contains a class for honey label design, so it's time to show off your unique artwork. A fairly recent introduction to the design classes is the skep class, and to get some tips or how to find out how to make a skep, see the demonstration by Chris Park or book onto one of his day-long workshops at the show next year. Let's move on to photography. This section encompasses branch and association newsletters, as well as an essay class and microscopy. This is perhaps the easiest of sections for people to enter, as the exhibits are mailed or emailed into the show ahead of time for judging. There are a variety of classes within the photographic section, including a short 30-second video clip on a beekeeping subject, with macro and photomicrography as well. The essay and set of digital photographs have a topic assigned each year, which have to be followed. Past winners of these classes are posted on our website, and you can see some of the longer videos entered in past years on our YouTube channel. A new class in this section is a branch newsletter. The exhibitors need to submit the last 3 copies of their newsletter for judging. Moving on to the very hotly contested section of cakes and biscuits. There are 2 set recipes for cakes that everyone entering has to follow, and classes for gluten-free cakes and decorated cakes. And gentlemen, don't shy away. The cake classes have been won by male exhibitors many times over recent years. The cake classes, and particularly the box of sweets, are the judges' favourite. In this section are a couple of newer classes for honey marmalade and honey vinegar. Last, but certainly not least, are the junior classes. These entrants are the future of the National Honey Show. They're split into age groups, and there are artistic classes as well as ones for honey produced by school apiaries. I hope I've given you a flavour of what the honey competition part of the National Honey Show is all about. There are lots of classes for beekeepers and non-beekeepers alike. All of the judges and National Honey Show executive will be happy to advise and guide you through the process of preparing and entering for the show. It may seem daunting if you've never been to the show, but do come along and be amazed by the range of colours of the honey and the mead, be wowed by the displays of wax and the outstanding craftsmanship and the inventions and decorative items. And the junior classes are inspiring to look at if you're involved in teaching. Why not give a class entry a go? We hope we'll be running a live show in Sandown Park next year and love to see you there. Keep the dates of the 21st to the 23rd of October 2021 free for the 90th National Honey Show. Thank you for listening.